Okay, awesome.
We are live. We are live. And as Wednesdays are going, I'm just I found Shani long time back. And it's not that I found her now. But I'm finding the space where I have started to put in these pieces. Maybe this is my future book piece. I don't know what it is, but just very gorgeous, beautiful moms are joining from all sides in whatever way it ends. But Mom Wives is only getting better and better. And yet again, we have beautiful Shani with us. I've known her for a while, and I'm very fascinated with the way she thinks. And that's what brought me here, because we all have to hear Shani. Shani, welcome to Mom Vibes. And it was long due, and now we are here together. I always say this, that moms who live their stories tell their story the best. So let's hear you as a mom first, and then what you do and where are you headed. So just introduce everybody. While you will see me, I'm hearing, but I will call everybody from all the sides to come and join us live. I'm just sharing the link.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am certainly a mom. That was something that I always wanted to be. I remember being a little girl and wanting to be a mom, having my babies. And so being able to be blessed to be a mom is so amazing for me. I know that I love, I should say, let me say, I love that you are asking us to start with our mom story, because I feel like there's so many times we are asked to tell our story from a place of somewhere else and something else. But some of us do really identify with being a mom, and that's precious and it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And it's such an imperfect journey. It's such a journey that teaches me, it's not a past tense, it teaches me so much about myself and so much about who I am and who I want to be for my kids. And so I have a 22-year-old. That does not even seem real to me, but I have a 22-year-old who's lifing and figuring out, what do they call it? Adulting nowadays, they call that. And then I also have an 11-year-old and a 10-year-old. And so it's really great that I took this break and then I started all over again. And between my husband and I, we have 5 girls and 1 boy. So my life has been full of being a single mom, a what people call either a stepmom or a bonus mom,
Yeah.
and also being a married mom, um, a homeschooling mom now. So that's also a
Right.
dimension of my life.
Right.
And so there's so much I can pull from, but those are the things that stand out to me. I'm also a mom that had an amazing mom. I go in between past tense and present tense when I talk about my mom, because I feel like she's still so present with me, even though
Right.
in the natural sense that she's departed. And so I'm also at times a grieving mom, because I long for my mom still to this day. Even
Ah.
though she gave me so much of herself, I would have never had enough of her. It would have never been the appropriate time to not have her. Um, but sometimes I'm also a grieving mom. And so yeah, there's my mom vibes going on
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and like you said, bonus mom, that's what we're calling everybody in the thing, and I'm very proud of that name, because I still remember when I was in the comments, and I was just like, why, don't know why the fairy tales just remind me of the crooked nose stepmom. This word I've never gelled with me, and we changed it. Like in the comments, a lot of words were coming, and then we decided bonus mom. So thank you for embracing that as well. And what you feel for your mom, I always feel when you talk about her. There's such an incredible story that when I told you, Shani, we need to go on the interview with that incredible story. We will share that story as well. But I'm so happy that you resonate with the fact that we start by being a mom. When we are a mom, we always start there. And this whole project is just panning out to say, and there's what you go. That's what the mom thing is. They come and go. So thank you for for appreciating that part, and also always supporting this movement in your spirit to say that this is where we start, it's not where we end. And that's the whole thing about this whole journey that we're taking with moms, because we think once we're a mom, like everything just ends and some other thing starts. It's not that. We're just like starting. And then you have just mentioned so many kinds of moms experiences that you've already had. But let's just move on to that beautiful experience that really touched my heart about your story of your mom and how it happened. And it's still, gets a little tear in my eye. I get very emotional when I listen to it, because what you feel for your mom, I feel for my dad. My dad's still there. But as you just said, it's never enough and it'll never be enough. I so resonate with that. So let's just hear that just like a very, very, and I always, there are so many books in you, knowing that you're into book publishing, etc. There's so many books that are going to come out of you, and I'm waiting for it to happen. So let's hear that beautiful story as well, Shani, about
Yeah.
when we're sitting and discussing about it.
Yeah, I think of my mom so much, and she's such a big part of my persona. Like I have my own, but I was a very attached daughter. Like she could not have her own space or time. Like I'm like, no, include me. I'm part of that. And so it's always beautiful remembering these moments with her. And one in particular, and I'm just going to touch base with you. Is it when I was talking about her story and my story? And okay,
Just love that.
so
When you say it, I just love it. So we should
yeah,
hear from your mouth what it is.
yes. So I have been a writer in process for most of my life, loving and hating writing. And because I, the vulnerability in writing. And so it was natural for me to think about my mom when I was wanting to write. And I wanted to write her story. She just to me represents so much of what I have seen good about the community I was in and the people. I mean, she was that type of person. She was my mother, but she was also this very engaged and active community person, mentor, woman of God. Like she was so present in people's lives, and that's her legacy is the relationship she cultivated. And I thought that that was amazing. I could talk about my mom all day. So of course in my mind, I'm going to write her story. And I kept putting it off because my writing, my identity as a writer wasn't fully forged. I didn't think that my words could do it, and I kept putting it off. It got to the point where my mom was what we now know the end of her life. But that wasn't my focus. I wasn't thinking about her life ending. It's like, no, never. But I wanted to write her story, and I sat down one day with her and I started asking her questions and I started writing the notes. And lo and behold, my emotional intelligence kicked in because I'm not that kid anymore, which is like, Mommy, do everything I want. Give me, give me, give me. I realized she was not in a place to give me the answers to the questions that I had. And so I put it aside, and I just enjoyed her presence. And from that day on, I didn't push the issue of writing her story. And I would say some months later, she was gone from us. And it was such a heart wrenching experience to lose her and then to deal with the fact that I hadn't written her story. And so I was in agony over that. And during that time, you go into to the parent that you lose, you go through their things in some ways. And so I came across a notebook she had. And in that notebook was the beginning of her mother's story. So I got to see, like, wait a minute. I was sitting down and didn't write my mom's story. At some point, she sat down to write her mom's story and didn't finish it. And I carried that for a while. And then at some point, now that I am a writer and I am owning that identity, like not letting the fact that I didn't write as much as I thought I should or whatever, I don't let anything interrupt that identity. I am a writer. And it came about in my thinking that, wow, I could keep looking at those moments as my mom didn't write her mom's story. I didn't write my mom's story. Like I could see that as a trend. And then I feel like God spoke to my heart and was like, you write your story. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have to languish over what I haven't done for someone else when I can focus on what I have the privilege, the opportunity, and the capability to do for myself. And I cherish that thought now. I don't look back at shame and lost opportunity anymore. I can't make the past different, but what I can do is take more intention in the present, and that's the joy that I have now, is remembering my mom, that we're so similar in that we both wanted to write our mom's story.
Yeah.
And I want to focus on that. I'm going to be in charge of my story, whether it's my verbal story, oral story, or my written story. That's my responsibility. That's my journey. That's my privilege. So it brings me joy. I'm not bummed out about it anymore, but I am willing to learn from that experience. And that is the one story we can write about is our own.
That's the title of your book. I always keep telling you, oh, that sounds like a title of your book, Shani. And yeah, it is. It is. The one story we can write is ours. And it's just every time you tell me this thing, and because I'm so deep buried in mom stories right now, of hearing it for past 1 year, and actually I keep saying it 1 year. I've been with moms since my profession is baby photography forever, talking and hearing their stories. I think almost for 23, 24 years. And every time I hear yours as well, I just hold it, and it's a story that needs to be heard, because you know we keep thinking that one day we will do this, and then one day comes and then we can't do it. Then the same thing happens to the next generation. Okay, the next generation says, okay, one again we'll do it, and then
Yeah.
one day comes and then it doesn't happen, and then somebody starts up like you just did and says, I'll stop this circle and I'll finish this.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful part about this beautiful story. And it makes me think, I think so many people resonate with you. So many of us don't even know that what our parents wanted and what they left, and then
Mhm.
probably we're doing the same thing and we might leave it. But this story of completing and creating our own story is so beautiful, Shani. And I would love to read it. I think it's going to be, and I always relate to you as children's writer. And I'm big time into children's book, and I understand children's book much faster than I understand any adult book. I somehow so much to learn from children's book, that I'm really literally obsessed about buying children's book, because there's always a message hidden in just 5 line in a book, and
Yes.
um, it's so simplified, it's so concise, it's so crisp sometimes, that all you need to hear is that, and you don't need to hear what happened, why it happened, when it happened, how it happened. You just hear that and like, exactly what I wanted to understand, exactly what I needed to hear. And I told you about the invisible string. That's another one of my favorite storybooks, called Invisible String. So much said in just like a small book. So the whole journey here that we are taking together, I know where I'm going, but I still don't know where I'm going. If anybody understands that, I know exactly where I'm going, but I still don't know where I'm going. And Debbie is watching with us, always supporting
Oh,
us,
hi, Debbie.
and
Love her so
she's
much.
putting in comments. Um, so where are you headed now? Because you're all about stories, you're all about books, you're all about creating, you're all about living, you're all about, this is what I've learned about you of little that I know you. Where are you headed with your dream now? And
Yeah.
before I give the mic to you, I also want to let people know that I resonate with Shani, because she's always about balancing and giving equal importance to her children while growing, and that's been her focus. And I like that she is very clear about it, and that's the kind of message we need to hear, that balance it out, make it part of your life, and So I really appreciate that about you, Shani. So where are you headed, Shani, now with your dream of stories?
Oh wow. I love this time in my life because it is creating such a sense of adventure in me when I really like everything paved and planned and predictable, and life is like I want you to be on an adventure. God keeps calling me to embrace the the unknown. So some of where I'm headed is still unfolding for me and I'm learning how to embrace that. But what I see for myself is being a beautiful disruption in the self publishing world. And I don't mean single handedly, I mean collaboratively. I want to just erase the choice conundrum between people if they want to self publish or they want to traditionally publish. I think that as a writer, you can traditionally publish and self publish. And I won't say that's for everybody. I don't know everybody's story. I just believe that there's an opportunity for us not to see it as a requirement that you have to go into your vision and your journey one only one specific way. And so I want to support those people who want to self-publish. I want to also publish as a self-published author, but also as a traditional publisher. And so that's the journey that I'm on. That's where I'm headed. I'm learning what my capacity is. I am learning that I want a team. I don't want to be a one woman show. And so my journey into publishing last year and this year has really been a discovery that honing in on what I love, but also understanding how to share with other people the opportunity to do things that I don't love to do. So that looks like children's book. I have a journal that's going to have a launch event really soon in October, and there's some other projects that are coming out. My children have written books, and that has been a journey in of itself. Honoring their words when I'm as the publisher, proposing things to them and really hearing them as an author to say no, that's not what I want to happen in the story, and just really understanding how to do that. So I've been enjoying that. There's one thing that I want to share that is my big vision of where I want to go. Moms are a part of it, but it's something inspired by my mother, and it makes it really tender for me to think that I could do this for women, and that is to support women in resting, or what people might consider a respite. And that is something that I believe is practiced. It's not always a woman's natural habit is to pause and rest and collect herself. Sometimes we get ill and then we don't have a choice, and sometimes we are ignoring those cues, those gentle cues in our body that says slow down, sit down, lay down. And I'm so impressed in my mom's story, which is another story, that I believe that I can partner with women and collaboratively create a safety net for women to pause and to deal with the psychological, sometimes anguish of pausing. It's like, what does it say about me that I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and I'm stepping away from this and I'm letting this happen on its own? What does that say about me? And I want to support women with taking real time off and out to just sit with themselves, to be with themselves, to ponder their vision. And one way that I'm starting, Shika, you got me here on this international program of yours. I'm gonna select at least 5 women this fall, and instead of delaying it until I can do my big vision, I'm gonna start with 5 women this fall with an experience. So a lot of us can't take a whole year off yet, or we can't take a whole month off, or we can't even take a whole week off. Some of us can't even take a whole day off. Can you relate to that? Are there any moms out there that it would stress you out if someone took you out of your life for a day? You'd love it, but you'd hate it. But what about an hour? What about 2 hours? Can we start there? So I am sponsoring 5 women this fall to just take an hour or two of an activity that they would love to do. Maybe it's a movie by themselves because it feels really like exciting, or a facial, or a massage. Just a moment, just like your Moms United moment, just that moment for themselves to practice taking some time of rest for themselves, contemplation, you know, and that's how I'm going to fulfill. And the dream is really big. It's global. And I don't plan on doing it alone. I plan on partnering with others for those moms to be selected, you know, going forward. But I don't have to do it by myself. There's enough women like you, like Debbie, like Sherez, like all these wonderful women we've surrounded by ourselves with, who are in proximity to women who could use this. And so I don't even feel stressed. Like, how will I select the women? I don't really have to. There's already
Yeah.
women who are in relationship and serving women, where I can just say, you send me a name, you send me a name, you send me a name. I don't have to pick these women because they are already present in the
Yeah.
world. And so
That's
that's
so
where I'm
beautiful.
headed.
That's so beautiful. And it's really like, it just made me smile a lot when I was hearing you, Shani, because I mean, that's what's rising now. Slowly, 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 it's all rising. And just today, I was talking to some my preschoolers principal, and you know, so yeah, I'm not a pushing kind of a mom. So I was just getting, I'll not say they were judging, but they were just like, you have to push and just lower away and leave. I'm like, he's not ready. I'm not pushing him. If he's not ready, he will be. That's the normal thing.
Yes.
And then I started to explain it to her where I'm coming from. And then, of course, my passion for the Mums United movement came together. And then there was a stepping back happening with the realization that, wow, every mom is not the same, and every mom doesn't have the same journey, and every mom doesn't need to think the same way. And we as educationists need to know that not only about the child, because we always say that each child is different, but each
Right.
mom is different as well. And each
Yes.
mom also resonates differently. She processes things differently. And this is not the transition for a child, it is a transition for a mom. When the child starts to go to school, and different countries have different, our country takes children as young as 3 to big schools. So every we've done it, I've done it, but the education industry needs to know and incorporate the mom as well,
Mm-hmm.
because she cannot go teared apart like that in the same box, every mom, because every mom situation is different. And when you're saying that rest, but the common thing is that each of them need a rest. That's the common thing. Like, there's no denial on the fact that a mom needs rest, and she will bounce back to stand up and take the right decision. So there is so many things that we need to start having conversations about. This place is not about this is the right thing or this is the wrong thing. It is a place to have conversation. It is the place here we've created so that we can start talking about things that we're keeping inside, and we're like, is that right, is that wrong, is it supposed to be like
Yes.
this, is it supposed to be
Yes.
like that? And then when I stepped out, I just suddenly realized what this movement is doing, Shani.
Mm.
Suddenly she became a mom, and suddenly she started to say, my daughter needs to talk to you. And then suddenly she stepped out, and then her heart opened up, because there is no one way. And by me carrying 100 stories, and now even more by carrying all your stories, and I'll keep carrying these stories, I am taking it to the world. And I'm like, this mom, this mom, each one is different. Stop just telling her that you go away, children are the world. It doesn't happen like that. You
Right.
know, we need to take care of the mom now. We need to hold her and we need to tell her and incorporate her. So when you say rest, I just why I got that conversation today in is that there are different kids and there are different moms, but each mom needs the rest. So let's focus on this rather than trying to make them like, if she doesn't push her child, she's not strong. That's not true.
That's absolute. I love that your commitment and to your own principles allowed you to be present with that person who allowed herself to evolve and embrace that identity as a mom, right? It's like I'm not just hearing you as protocol, like do this, do that. It's so much more. Like it makes me remember when I was nursing my oldest daughter, and they kept telling me that what I was eating, I felt like inside of me it was like a message that I was eating something that was affecting her. But they said it would be so minute passing through your breast milk into your baby that it wouldn't have an effect. And I had to stop listening to even medical folks, at the time, because I knew what I knew. And I had my daughter, and there was this connection with her in, more than just the feeding her. And when I stopped eating the things that they told me that I needed to eat for nutrition, and it was affecting her, she just has a very sensitive digestion system, and the issues went away. And that was one of the first things that helped me understand that what I knew about my daughter, what I know about my kids matters. Yes, I can get input, but that's information. When people tell me something, they're giving me information, but direction comes from within me.
Tell it,
And
yeah,
so I had to follow the direction that was coming to me, considering the information, but not all information is appropriate. Like you said, we're so unique, we're so individual, and I just love that we as moms can lean into that confidence
yeah,
and practice that, because I know some moms who are like, they have instincts and it has saved their child's life
yeah.
because
Every mom
they,
has it, yeah,
you know, and I just love that we can practice that,
yeah.
because some of us have ignored it. And you know what? Being tired dulls our senses to a point where having that rest can really, like you said, allow us to bounce back in resilience. And it just made me think, the first book I wrote was about a bedtime routine. I'm very passionate about rest, and I didn't even realize how passionate I was until we're having this conversation. I'm like, your big vision is putting women into a place of rest. I'm like, that makes sense. I think it's
It
so
does,
valuable.
it does, it does makes a lot of sense. And that's why conversations are very important. That's why to tell each other that, there is a difference between holding a mother's hand and say, you can do it, you can push him and it'll be okay. And then say, push him, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
There is
Yes.
there is a huge difference in that.
Yes.
And we need the education system to, I think, start coming around to say, all right, how are you feeling about it? Because unless you feel good about it, this child is not going to feel good about it. So let's talk to both of you and get you into a room, and let's deal with you
Yes.
and console you, and then take you. Not be strong, be strong, be strong. Come on, you have to be strong. You have to be strong. And so it's and resilience is like, I've been very resilient as a child, and I realized that over a period of time, it only came not out of being hard, because my father was just too gentle. The heart made me more resilient because I had a cushion behind me. If I fell, I could feel it, even if I knew if I'll fall, there's a cushion. And I became more resilient that I can try, because if I fall, there's a cushion, not the other way around. If I try and I fall, it's going to be very hard fall. I'm going to get a shouting. No, if I fall, I have a hand to hold me and cushion me and say, all right, try again. So
Yeah.
resilience, it's a misconception. I sometimes feel the resilience comes from making people get strong and
Right.
let them go and fight their emotions. It comes from love. Resilience
Oh, I
will come
love
from love,
that.
and it
Yeah.
will come from cushioning, it will come from support. And one day they will just go away. They will not need any more cushioning and they will leave you and go. That's what it is. They will move forward because they have built their muscles and they are strong and they are understandable. And that's what I want to tell everybody because I think you understand it. And when you're talking about
Yes.
rest, the person who's holding the cushion all the time also needs to put the cushion down. He
Yes.
needs to put
Yes.
the cushion down and say, all right, this was tiring. Watching that. Now I need to put the cushion down. So I love what you're saying about Therese has joined us as well. And I love what you're saying, Shani, that rest is the common thing which all moms need.
Mhm.
And understanding is a common thing which all moms need.
Yeah.
And both are very important.
And
So
it takes practice.
it
That's
takes
another
practice. Oh,
thing
I
too.
love
It
that
takes
word when you say it.
practice.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
practice. It takes practice. So, Therese is here as well. And Therese, as usual, you will love this interview. You see replays. And I'm in love with Therese. I'm in love with Debbie. I'm just falling in love all over again with so many people that I can't even explain like what's happening. I'm feeling it. And I think we are headed in the right direction in the future to I don't know, to save, to numb, but we're definitely headed in the right direction with a message in our hand. And I hope that really helps a lot of people. So, Shani, before we leave, what do we want to say? Would you like to say something?
Hmm. I have been in such a mixed place. Before we jumped on, you said we're just being transparent, and my heart wants to say to women that if you have been struggling with either or, either I'm strong or I'm weak, either I'm perfect or I'm terrible, um, I'm just inviting you, I'm inviting me. Let's extend ourselves some grace as we're going through these journeys. We don't have to be going through a terrible time. It can feel terrible, and we have the grace and the invitation in our hearts to see what it is that we're being called to do more of, or in the case of rest, to do more of in terms of doing less. So I have been in this season where so many wonderful things are happening, and I still get those moments where I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling strained, I am feeling like I'm dropping balls, around me. And like I was on fire last week with getting all the meals together, and this week I'm like, how do people do this? Like I'm the same person, but
Yeah.
this week is different. And so one of the things I
Yeah.
used to tell myself is that I want to get mentally and emotionally dressed for my day. And we do that the weather. We check the weather and we make sure we look ahead. And so I'm just inviting women to, if you have some rainy days this week or in your month emotionally, if you have some cloudy days, let's give ourselves some grace and also connect with maybe another mom, connect with something that brings you joy. That's my walk this morning. I went on a walk because I knew it would be so easy to sit here and wonder, I wonder how this interview is going to go and how she can, what about the kids' school? And, it's just on and on and on. But I'm like, walking brings me so much joy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to do something that brings me so much joy. So that's what I just want to share, is that we have such varied textured lives, and one of the things that we can do for ourselves and for the people around us is to make sure we are intentionally bringing some joy into our lives and some grace is one of my values, and so grace and joy is just, I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, it's all happening, Shani. It's all happening. So let's end our interview. I can talk to you. I can talk to all the moms forever because when we start opening our hearts, we so many messages come through, especially when we're talking live. It's happened so many times. But people need to see the replay and they must have enough like a short reason to watch it
Yes.
to the end. So I will say bye bye. Therese was there. A few more people are there. Somehow my Facebook is stuck. I can't see who all are there, but I saw Debbie messaging as well. So we'll reply to her.
Nice.
And thanks to Debbie for bringing me to that workshop, the course we did, and from there meeting you. And Debbie is a chain connector. She's connecting these chains from people's, and I hope she's there listening. I don't think so. I think she's left, but she does connect chains for many people, and I love that about her. So thanks, Shani, for coming, and I will say
Thanks for
bye bye.
having
And
me.
yeah, thank you so much. You stay on, and I will go off. Like,
Okay.
okay.